Hey guys, welcome to Module 2. In Module 2 we look at the history of tourism. We also look at globalization because globalization both influences tourism and tourism through its movement of travelers and ideas also influences globalization. As you guys see in this module, people really have been traveling for thousands of years, right? When you look at the first humans, we traveled really just as hunters and gatherers, right? So we started making footpaths, and later these footpaths became really the basis for roads that other people like Marco Polo started traveling. We had things like the Polynesians who traveled all the way to Hawaii and dug out canoes following the stars and the sun and birds, and they actually found Hawaii. So these early travelers laid the foundation for tourism, right? We also talk about pilgrimages where people travel for religious purposes, right? And even now we have many travel agencies that sell these pilgrimages, like the Santiago Trail in Spain, or to Jerusalem, Israel, those kinds of places. So these pilgrimages happened. And then we also had crusades. These were basically warfare in the name of the church, right? Where we went and we actually tried to spread the word, and all of those started early travel, right? After these early travelers, we look at things like the ancient Roman Empire, where roads were built mainly for military purposes, but these roads enabled people to then go and travel more, right? In Europe and in the 17th century, we had something called the Grand Tour. The Grand Tour was basically for British high society aristocrats who were sent abroad, really kind of like a big study abroad when you think about it. Young people who were sent abroad by their parents with a tutor, not alone, to go and really get to know Europe. So they went from Great Britain, they came over to France, they stayed for a couple of months. This tour was long. We're talking about a 3-year tour where they went and they basically stayed with other aristocrats, other royal people in Europe, and they learned the languages, they learned the customs. They went from France and to Italy, over the mountains to Prague, to Germany, to the Netherlands, and then back. Now this Grand Tour really started this first spreading of ideas, of cultures, of languages, and it really helped people get educated. Now when you think about the idea of study abroad, that's really where that came from. And even nowadays, most tour operators kind of follow the same path of like a tour, only now we do it in 10 days with 1 day in each country instead of 3 years total. In terms of international tourism, as I said, it's growing rapidly, right? Things like the railways, boats, planes, all contributed to this massive growth of tourism. In terms of the first passenger transportation systems, you guys will see in the slides that people in Europe actually started traveling by stagecoach. That's basically a horse and a carriage, right? The first stagecoaches were literally mail carriages. So you would hop on, you would go. They would have little mail signposts to say how long it takes. If you're ever in Europe and you're in a marketplace, look at what it says, because it says a really long time. Something you can do now in 20 minutes in a car would take almost a day or two on horse to do, right? In those carriages on the cobblestone roads. You can imagine this travel wasn't very comfortable, right? Then, of course, after the stagecoach came the boats, the railways, and then later the airplane, which of course connected the whole world. You guys will see some of the first travel agents. You'll see that actually they didn't work in tourism. One of the first travel agents was somebody who worked at the consulate from the United Kingdom to Norway, and he started organizing things in Norway for British citizens. One of the other travel agents we talk about is